Nerd News Now.
I know Justin just counted, so I should say 2-1, but there was a trumpet in the background, and now I'm concerned about what's happening at Justin's.
Yeah, and why weren't we invited?
Right?
I mean, come on, trumpets?
I'm.
So you're saying, welcome to Nerd News Now, where we don't have a house band, but we just realized maybe we should. I'm with Kyle and Brainy.
Brainy's the house band. Just throwing
Do
that
have
out.
a house DJ though.
Well, okay, sure. Well, then go for it. But I just haven't heard any trumpets coming from your Skype call.
You know, can we get, if Brainy's our house DJ, can we get a robot skeleton? I know there's one that's unemployed from the old Craig Ferguson show.
Yeah. You watch a lot of TV. Do you think house bands should still be a thing? Or is it just sort of like ingrained in our psyche to late night?
On Corden, it's great because it's Reggie Watts, who's a stand-up of his own right.
Sure.
Fallon is great with the Roots. I think when Fred Armisen is there with Seth Meyers, it's good. I think, and as much as I love Jean Baptiste, I think the only show it doesn't work on is Colbert.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about the Roots because they're one of the greatest bands of all time. And they gave one of the best live performances I've ever seen at Trees Lounge in Dallas, and Questlove, I think, did like a 22-minute drum solo, and then Erica Badu came out, and they went 3 hours, no break. So it's like, oh, they're just a house band now. But at least they're in everyone's living room 5 days a week. So,
some of the guys gave an interview and talked about why they agreed to do it. And it's because most of them have kids who like have sports schedules and school stuff. And
yeah.
They're like, oh, you mean to tell me we can make as much money just being on the Fallon show as we can make touring 250 days a year? And we could be at all of our kids' school plays and soccer games? Okay. Like, we feel like we're selling out, but like also win-win.
That's true. I mean, one of the members of Foster the People basically announced his retirement over the weekend, and it was because, hey, I realized during COVID I like staying home, and it was like that was it. Like, and no one can really. I mean, they've already been there, done that, taking Foster the People as far as they're going to go as a band. Top charts on the billboards a few times. 4 studio albums, 2 world tours. So he was like, I've been around the world like literally twice. So I just want to stay home now.
Right. It's the opposite of what I had during COVID. It's like, oh man, I hate staying home. And so for the last month, I've not been home.
Yeah.
Missed it.
Yeah, you've been out and about. How was your New York Comic Con experience?
I'll let you know when I'm not exhausted from it.
You're still tired.
So this has been my... So first convention was Monroe Pop Fest, which was a 2-day show, but it was the first convention back since pandemic. Like, so no muscle memory. We also did the cosplay contest, which was a whole big thing, and it was crazy. Turn around the following weekend and did a 1-day show in Saginaw, Michigan, Oxeye Media Con, which was the first time I've done a show by myself ever. I always had a helper. This show I had no helper. Come back, get done with that. Fly to Baltimore for 2 days. Get home. I'm home for 4 days. Leave for Baltimore for 6 days. Sorry. Get home. I'm home for 30 hours, and I fly to New York Comic Con. Like, there was this stretch where it was just what is sleep? Sleep is a thing you do on a plane, and in the Charlotte airport. So by the time I got to New York, I was already exhausted. And then add to that walking 5, 6, 7, 8 miles a day while carrying camera equipment and shooting a bunch of stuff. And it's totally rewarding. And it was amazing. And I had so much fun. And I got to make fun of Donnie Cates to his face with the help of Ryan Stegman, which was super fun. And I got to make fun of Ryan Stegman to his face with the help of everyone, including his wife. So, like, that was fun. Got to meet a bunch of great people. Had a really cool dinner with like Philip Kennedy Johnson and Frank Thierry and a bunch of Aftershock creators. Hung out with Jen King for like 3 days, which she's not here, so I'll say it is an exhausting thing unto itself because she has energy that no human should have. Like, she doesn't get tired, and I don't understand it. So I loved it. It was great. One significant bummer. Friday afternoon, I get a text from Ming Chen. Hey, they're going to show Ghostbusters at this panel. You should come. I go running over to the panel, and I can't get in because I have an exhibitor badge. I have the wrong kind of badge and couldn't reserve a seat.
What kind of badge did you need? Just like
You had to have
regular guest?
like a guest talent or a pro badge or just a regular guest badge. Exhibitor badge, you couldn't reserve seats in panels. Which is just kind of a bummer. If there were room, they would let you in. Like, so I got to get into the Tony Schiavone panel.
Is that when he called out WWE?
He did a lot of running his mouth, and it was pretty great.
Okay. Well, I just very specifically referencing a tweet saying when they go to head to head for 30 minutes on Friday night, they're going to win. Haven't seen the results of that, but it was like a weird 2.5 hour SmackDown.
Yeah, they won. One of my highlights, and you'll appreciate this, Mark, is one of my buddies bought a Tony Schiavone bobblehead and gave it to MJF as a gift. And MJF threw it on the ground and broke it.
This was at New York Comic Con?
Yeah.
MJF was there?
Yep.
Oh.
So was Orange Cassidy. Punk was there. Like, a lot of the AEW guys were there just low-key.
I was going to say, like, how could CM Punk walk around if people, like, no one must have known he was there? Yeah.
No, it's like he showed up, came to the booth, like, with 4 security guards that make guys like the Big Show, Mark Henry, look small.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and they're New York security guards, so they don't even need to be that big. They just have that about them. Signed autographs for like 40 minutes and took off.
Man, that would have been. I want to get some Marvel comics signed by him.
MJF was there for like 2 days.
Wow.
And it was hysterical. Like, $40 for an autograph, $80 if you don't want me to call you the F word in your autograph. Which is a great gimmick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to charge you more to be polite in your autograph. I'm not going to be nice to you while you're standing in front of me, but more to you, more for you to be polite. So people, I didn't get to meet Orange Cassidy. I got to meet MJF. One of my favorite moments, and I'll tell the story on this show. I haven't told it on any other show. Walking back to the hotel on Saturday night. No. Friday night. Time is a relative construct, and it was Friday or Saturday. I can't remember which. And a New York City crackhead comes running up to us and goes, "Guys, you look like wrestling fans. Would you believe this? Rob Van Dam is eating tacos in this taco hut right here, this little taco restaurant. I can't believe it. Rob MF and Van Dam is right." And the dude's like face is falling off and he has no teeth and he's totally strung out. But he's so amped up that RVD is eating tacos. And we'll walk by and the door opens and it just smells like a Cheech and Chong movie would smell. And I really wanted to turn to the guy and say, I have no problem believing that Rob Van Dam is in this taco restaurant right now. But it's New York, so you just look straight ahead and keep walking. But that was one of my favorite moments of the entire weekend.
So it was never confirmed though that he was in there.
No, he was in there.
He was in there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was confirmed. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, that was a good moment. There's a hysterical moment, and I'm waiting to figure out what to do with the video. I've got it cut up. It's ready to go. I may debut it Thursday night on Jen's Experience show.
Mm-hmm.
She dressed up like Flint, the main character from Good Boy, and goes and stands in front of Garrett Gunn at his table, and he's on his phone, typing away. She's standing there. He's typing away. He looks around, doesn't see her, typing away. And she stands there for like a good 30 seconds before somebody finally comes over and goes, hey, man, you got a customer. He looks up, and then he just jumps. It's one of those things, so oblivious. You know, oh, it was great.
Well, I mean, we can get lost on our phones regardless of like the time or place. That's kind of the downfall of them. There's a lot of great sides to having smartphones, but yeah, you get buried no matter where you are. Speaking of wrestling and cosplay, did you get to see the picture of Xavier Woods from
No.
New Day?
No.
He cosplayed at New York City Comic Con as the gym teacher from Matilda, and it's amazing. You gotta check out the picture.
He was the Trunchbull?
Yes. Yes. And it's like I was like, wait a minute, is this guy super cool? And then I started reading stuff about him, and he is. So when you said wrestlers were at Comic Con, I wasn't really thrown back like I might have been, 8 or 10 years ago or whatever.
No, oh no, like and Tony Schiavone has the comic book out. I mean, they had a Legends of Wrestling or WWE Legends booth that had both JR and Jerry Lawler and RVD, and so wrestling was a big part of the show. But no, like I said, the whole getting to interact with MJF was super fun. Because it was exactly the way you'd expect it to be. Getting to meet Tony Schiavone in person was super fun. Getting to meet Jerry Lawler in person was super fun. I'm bummed I didn't get to meet Orange Cassidy. I'm bummed I didn't get to meet a lot of the guys, but I was working too. Like, I wasn't just there to be Mr. Super meet everybody guy.
Yeah. I also feel like if I don't want to say disappointment, but like let's say Orange Cassidy was just Orange Cassidy in real life, then you're just standing by a guy with his hands in his pocket.
That's kind of what it was.
Yeah. Well, I would still take a picture with him, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you're going to be having like a crazy, memorable conversation with a guy like that.
Like, the way I understand it is, if you went up to him and asked him to take a picture, he would totally take a picture with you. If you were just gonna stand there and just be like,
yeah, of
you
course. And then you
Um,
really couldn't tell if it was him or a cosplayer. That would probably be like most of the picture.
That's fair. So opening day of the convention, and this is we can move on to the box office and other things. I walk in and I see my friend Eric Palicki, and I see his booth, and I see that he's directly across the aisle from Ryan Stegman and Donnie Cates. And I've known Ryan for probably 10 to 15 years now. I mean, we all knew him when he was just a dude doing fan art at conventions, and then he got his first Marvel work, like in this kind of stuff. So I walk up to Eric, and I see Ryan sitting there, and I kind of give Ryan a little wave. And I go, dude, how are you going to sell anything this weekend? You got to be across from these schmucks all weekend. And Donnie doesn't recognize me with the mask on because we've only met through the internet. And I just see Ryan staring dagger. I can just feel him staring daggers into my back. And so I turn and I go over and I start talking to Ryan's wife, Erin. Just no selling him the whole time. Just not.
Yeah.
And then later in the weekend, there was, I got to talk to those guys more and give everybody a hard time and ask Donnie about writing his Venom as the Borg Collective story and, that kind of stuff. And it just wound up being a fun weekend. It was good to see a bunch of people I only ever see at Comic-Con. And it was a real bummer that there weren't as many opportunities for big groups of us to do things together.
Yeah.
I mean, there were definitely some big dinners, definitely some fun hangouts, but like New York Comic Con has always been like this. It's different than like a C2E2 where everybody stays at the same hotel. There's a lot less of the camaraderie because everybody's got to go back to their individual, places. So
Yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta go back to the hotel where Tesla died now. That's
right,
right. That's where I stay. I went in 2019 and I was by myself, so I didn't get any camaraderie either. I mean, I did get to have good conversations with people like Gail Simone and Margaret Bennett, but like when you're just a fan, that stuff is fleeting, like 1 or 2 minutes, right? So I got to meet Christopher Eccleston and talk about soul music for like 3 minutes, which was the highlight for me. But I also tried to jam in stuff like the Rangers opening night at the Garden and a Broadway show with Daredevil and Loki and Yankees game. So for me, like the number one thing you have to do in New York is decide what way you're going to walk on the street before you get to the street. Because coming out of the New Yorker hotel when you're at the epicenter of all that stuff, it's like if you just stand there, you're just gonna get swallowed up like a guppy. Like you
uh huh,
just like a salmon like swimming
right.
upstream and jumping into a bear's mouth. That's basically like, you have to know exactly where you're going.
So that's the thing, right? Like, I think Jen had been to New York before, but probably not often. Our friend Pat that went had never been. I've been to New York several times. I'm very familiar. Times Square does nothing for me, you know. Like that was the thing that was interesting for me is my friends wanted to do the touristy stuff, and me being like, no, 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 no. Like, please don't get mugged while doing the touristy stuff. That would be a damper
Yeah,
on the weekend.
yeah,
Um, it's but like we took them to Times Square, and then we went to this cookie place called Schmackeries, which is a really great kind of boutique cookie stop. And in order to get there, you have to walk past the Richard Rogers Theater, and you have to walk past the Majestic, and you have to walk past all these theaters where oh, it's Jeff Daniels is Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, and here's Hamilton, and there's Moulin Rouge, and over there's Aladdin, and Aladdin's gonna get canceled soon, and here's the cookie place we're going to. Um, you know, that kind of stuff. Um, hey, we're gonna guys, in order to get back to our hotel, we have to walk past the the Transit Authority bus terminal. Put your hands in your pockets.
yeah.
Like that kind of stuff was fun for me to watch. But and to eat the food, man. We had Cuban food one night. We had barbecue one night. We kept going to the same Irish pub. We went there 2 nights in a row because it was convenient.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, especially when you're doing a con. Like cons are exhausting. We've all been to conventions. They're one of the most exhausting things you could do. It's not a vacation. It's not like it's fun, but it's a different level of fun. Like you're so into the surrounding area, but it's just so draining at the same time. So, I mean,
Right.
I can definitely like I think I just like lived off of pizza slices, which is fine because I'm in New York, right? But
Right.
like
Well,
I didn't make any time. There was a few restaurants I wanted to go to, and I tried to cram too much stuff into 3.5 days. So
right. Well, it's like, we had
I was by myself, so I went to like game. Can't remember if it was one or two of the ALDS against the Twins in 2019, and rode the subway to the Bronx by myself and back and all that. So talk about hands in your pockets.
Well, and that's an experience that you need to have, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
my friend Pat had never been. And I'm like, dude, just go down to Ground Zero. Go down and get on the Staten Island ferry and ride the ferry across to Staten Island and look at the Statue of Liberty, and then just ride it back. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just do it. You know, that kind of, and like there are experiences like that, like getting on the train and riding it down to the Bronx to go to Yankee Stadium or whatever, that I have no desire, I have no need to do. I've done.
Yeah.
You know.
I just I don't get out much. Brady and I didn't get to go to New York Comic Con, so I think like the farthest away I've gone from my house in like a month is like 5 miles to work or something. But Rainy, what have you been up to this week?
I'm trying to see if I can top anything Kyle did, and I just can't.
I mean, we can't. Like, it's fine. We
Well,
can move on from it. But like,
we didn't talk about the weekend before in Baltimore, where we ate a 30-ounce prime rib.
Well, and also, so Brainy, do you do conventions? Do you ever have tables at conventions for your store?
I haven't done one, of course, especially since the pandemic. We used to do a local one for quite some time, and it was primarily to promote. It was more to promote than it was to sell. Dang, nice. But beyond that, for us, it's also always been a staffing issue. We just can't staff as much as we need. So it's we don't do very many conventions at all, and I'm not sure if we'll get back into it. Possibly, maybe, I don't know yet.
I think with like internet sales and stuff, I don't know. I mean, like I could definitely see you hitting a certain audience at conventions, especially if you had kind of what was hot, what people were looking for. But I guess my question to both of you is, and I guess Kyle did this 2 weeks ago, but like, how do you have a convention or be a retailer at a convention with only one person? Like, what is that? I mean, can you just never go to the bathroom? or
No,
like,
it's got to be a small. I think it's got to be a small convention. I don't know how guys do big shows by themselves. It would terrify me. So Oxeye MediaCon was, 800 people. I'm doing Cherry Capital Comic Con kind of by myself. I have a little bit of help, but it's just got to be a small convention. It's got to be someplace where you can control the situation.
Yeah, see, I'm not.
Rainy, is your background animated?
Yes.
Punk.
Is it tripping you out?
A little bit. I thought I was having a stroke for a second as I'm watching things. Oh, can I
watch Black Widow this weekend?
You what?
I watched Black Widow this weekend.
I'm sorry.
I think it's great. That's fine. I'm glad you watched it.
Oh, can I talk about something else that I did during my whirlwind trips?
Yeah.
We went to the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, which is something that's a little off the beaten path. But it's something that I just want to put this out there to anybody. If you're in rural, east or western Pennsylvania, stop and check it out. It's the word I'm going to use is cool, but you know what I mean when I say it's cool. It's a really well thought out national park. It's a beautiful tribute. It's all this kind of stuff. It's definitely something worth visiting if you have the chance.
And I'm sure it's a very moving and emotional experience, especially for anyone who knew anyone that was on that flight. But just also for what how worse it could have been, right? So it's like,
and it's weird seeing that, and then and Ground Zero. We're talking 48 hours apart. So,
Yeah.
because you can see Ground Zero as you fly into LaGuardia. And it's a really weird kind of thing to be looking out your window being like, yeah, that's... Mm-hmm. So.
That was 20 years ago, man.
Mm-hmm. I was 13.
And you're what, 70 right now?
Yes. 70, 75, yes. So, but back on the normal topics we talk about, I saw Venom, but I also saw James Bond this weekend.
And what were your thoughts on James Bond, just real quick?
Top 4 James Bond movies of all time for certain. Maybe my favorite James Bond movie ever. I'm going to have to rewatch Dr. No and Goldfinger to confirm that. And I don't want to admit I'm going to have to watch Skyfall because I know Skyfall is either third or fourth.
Yeah. Where do you put Casino Royale?
Low.
Low. Okay. I was just curious. I've never seen it. I like the 2 Daniel Craigs I've seen him in. Skyfall is probably my favorite Bond movie, but just I've only seen 8 Bond movies.
Well, for
So
the longest time, I was a Sean Connery or nothing kind of guy. Because all I had seen were the Sean Connery movies and the Pierce Brosnan one. Then it broadened those horizons. It was like, oh, okay. I understand this now.
yeah.
So.
And I think the Pierce Brosnan ones, and I don't mean this tongue in cheek or anything like that. They have a lot going for them historically because of the N64 games that were out. People they love those games.
GoldenEye is still one of the best games made, man.
Yeah.
They're always, Nintendo has been doing the retro systems that plug in with HDMI right to your TV. They've done the NES and they did Super Nintendo, and there's been rumors for a while of N64, but they can't do licensed games. So I think that maybe they're waiting until somehow, because I just see if you came out with an N64 console and it had 20
GoldenEye
games
wasn't on it.
and GoldenEye wasn't on it, people would be like, "What's the point?"
And
What
neither
is
was
this?
Smash.
Yeah, well, that one would be on there, I would think, because that's. I
Yeah.
mean, even though there's multi companies involved, it's still a Nintendo game. But yeah, I mean, there's no Turtles game on the NES and stuff. Even though that the first Ninja Turtles on NES is pretty torturous. Somehow I beat that game, and that's that and beating the NES version of Jaws are my 2 greatest video gaming accomplishments.
So I'm assuming you guys didn't hear about the Nintendo Online expansion pack, which will include games from Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis. So there are rumors there's going to be GoldenEye coming out into there. So we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, I would definitely pay whatever license fee you had to pay because it would just be silly not to have it. People are just going to be clamoring for it anyway.
From what I hear, it is $49.99 per year for an individual subscription, or $80 for a shared family membership for a year. That's a huge jump from the current plan. Oh.
I don't know. I sold my console 2 years ago to pay a diamond bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no video game console except for my iPad, which I primarily use to play cribbage online. So I'm not sure I still have the skills required to beat GoldenEye because that game was hard.
That game was.
It was.
In fact, all games back then were much harder than they are nowadays. In fact, one of the games that really bugs me that we never got to finish was Fester's Quest on the original Nintendo game.
Oh my gosh, no. That was impossible.
Right? Games nowadays will never compare to games like that.
Well, also licensed games are notoriously difficult. Like for whatever reason, I don't know if it was like the programming or just they knew like, oh, this is a really bad game. It's impossible. And then someone else was like, well, we were just paid to make an Adams Family game. Can you just like put a Fester skin on them and be done with it? Okay. Like, I mean, that's like, I just feel like if you ever played the worst is Total Recall. The Total Recall Nintendo game, by far the worst. I love to go on YouTube and find Angry Video Game Nerd, and he's like done just expletive laden bashings, like sometimes 20 minutes of all of these. And what's great is like he's so big now, as or has been so big that he's able to. What's the name of the head of Trauma Films? Like he's played the Toxic Avengers games with the Trauma Films guy.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Lloyd Kaufman, and also he's played all the Home Alone Nintendo and Game Boy games with Macaulay Culkin, and so those videos are fantastic. But like he just he gets all the rage out for all of us.
Somebody sent me a meme the other day of with a caulk gun, and it said Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
and I basically quit the internet for 2 whole days.
Yeah.
Just couldn't even.
Yeah, I think it's
and the thing people don't remember about those games that I vividly remember because of the trauma is that was pre-save screen. Like GoldenEye, you just had to play it. Like you couldn't save. You just had to go.
I thought they did have you had to reach a marker or whatever.
Well, and you had to have a certain amount of affluence to be able to afford the little card to put in it to save it.
Yes.
And I never had that.
Well, you could still have disasters, like even with older systems like Nintendo, if you put it on the ground and your sibling came bounding in and hit the ground too hard, it would like pop the cartridge up and reset it to like a blue or yellow screen. And yeah, and I remember when the PlayStation first came out playing Resident Evil for the first time, like I rented a console from Blockbuster and the Resident Evil game, but they don't give you a memory card. So yeah, you got to play it for 9 hours straight and then not know where you're even at.
Do you guys?
Wow.
Do you guys remember the year that Harbaugh versus Harbaugh was the Super Bowl? Yeah. It was the 49ers versus the Ravens, and they had the whole lights go out thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I remember about it was the meme where it was John Harbaugh had kicked the plug out of the N64 right before his brother had got his high score, and that's what happened to the lights.
Yeah.
This is like when you try and I almost beat your Mario high score. You know.
Oh yeah.
It's the same tactics.
I think this is the most we've ever talked about video games, and there was some video game news out of Fandom. Did anyone watch Fandom at all?
No, it's the dumbest name ever. Either be Fandom or be nothing.
So
unless
call
you're
it DC
inviting
Fandom
me to some sort of actual dome, I can enter. Like it's the Simpsons movie, and they put the glass dome around Springfield. I am not interested.
Or the really bad, unfortunately, I think the head writer was Brian K.
Show
Vaughan.
the dome.
The dome. Oh man. Yikes.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was real bad. But and I think somehow it had a season 2, but I'm not sure. But anyway, at the DC Fandom, I think the most notable thing to come out of that was this Batman trailer, because I saw it and it makes me go, "Oh wait, Batman's good." Because I get Batmaned out. Like I'm a Marvel guy, but I do a DC podcast, Birds of Prey. But whenever he shows up in that, he's just a pompous jerk. And then like they did the Killing Joke animated movie that like did Batgirl even worse somehow than the original graphic novel, and he's a jerk the whole time. I mean, and so I'm just not a huge Batman fan. But seeing Robert Pattinson as Batman and me wanting to see it, Like if you would have told me 9 years ago Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman, I'd be like, well, that's a joke. But then I saw the black and white movie with him and Willem Dafoe, The Lighthouse, and I'm like, yeah, that guy's going to be a great Batman. And then I see this trailer, and it's like, that guy's going to be a great Batman, and Paul Dano is going to be an awesome Riddler.
That's more information than I knew, cared to know, or wanted to know.
Okay. And Brainy, what about you? Do you like Batman? Because Kyle doesn't.
Well,
I know.
I
Well,
love Batman, but I don't watch trailers. I don't learn anything about these movies until I go to see them.
Okay.
Because when I do, I inevitably come out of the movies screaming and yelling and asking for my money back.
Well, that's why you were not a fan of Fandom, because all they do is show trailers.
Oh, but that name is terrible.
Well, that too.
outside of Pumpkin, is there anything else Kyle likes?
I really did like Shang-Chi.
I still haven't watched that. I gotta watch that one day.
I'm with you, Brainy. Though I'm waiting for the digital release. So, and I think the first movie I'll probably go and brave the theaters for is Spider-Man, just because I just can't wait. And I really do want to see Eternals, but I really wish I could just pay $20 and watch it at home.
You know, I'm in that same kind of boat, Mark. I keep going to the theater, but I'm going to the small, sort of removed from civilization theater in the dying mall. Where, like I said, we saw Venom, me and a friend, 2 tickets for Venom, 2 large popcorns, 2 pops, and 2 candies for $30.
Yeah,
That's
can't
pretty
beat that.
good.
Yeah, you can't
Right,
beat that.
like I demanded my money back after the movie, but even if they wouldn't have given it to me, I feel like the popcorn, the pop, and the candy were worth at least 2/3 of that.
No, wait, did you really demand your money back, or are you just joking?
No, I demanded my money back.
Because the movie was that bad?
Yes.
Wow.
But you watched the whole movie. Wouldn't that be someone like eating a whole meal at a restaurant and be like, "This was terrible. Give me my money back"?
I kept waiting for it to get good, and in the defense of the movie theater, they did not give me my money back.
Okay.
They did offer me a discount coupon for concessions my next visit,
And you
which
took it.
is fine. Well,
Yeah.
I took it and I don't know what happened to it. So, it was such a bad movie. I kept waiting for it to get good, and it just never did. I kept waiting for a redeeming quality, and there just never was.
You mean Batman showing up at the end of Venom wasn't a redeeming quality?
No.
I heard Batman had some vampire teeth with him too.
Yeah, he shows up and traps Venom in a fandom.
But Mark, to go back
stuck
to your
there forever.
What did I say? Oh, I said to a friend of mine that Manos the Hands of Fate deserves an Oscar nomination for special effects compared to this movie.
Wow, okay. And would you say that Tommy Wiseau from The Room should have been Best Actor just because that this movie existed?
Tommy Wiseau should win every award in the film category.
I don't know what happened to his newest movie. I was really excited to see it. It looked really dumb. It was like something about Big Shark or something like that, and it was like the trailer is like him on the street, and the street floods all of a sudden. He's like, "There's a big shark," and that was. I mean, like I would have believed it was just like a skit on Sam and Eric had I not looked it up and seen, no, this is an actual like B horror movie or whatever.
Right. I haven't seen it yet, and so I'm contributing to its delinquency. But I'm incredibly disappointed that The Last Duel didn't perform better.
I saw it behind the scenes and it looked good. Like the story looked intriguing. I mean, it looks like it's well done. So I don't understand how it bombed.
It's written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. I don't know if maybe there just weren't enough references to them apples.
Yeah.
Or what the deal was, but just the fact that it didn't perform is sort of disappointing to me. I will see it eventually.
People know Ben Affleck and Matt Damon as a duo because of Good Will Hunting. However, I mean, their careers went separate ways pretty quick, except for coming back to do fun stuff with Kevin Smith every once in a while. So it's not like they were really like a power team.
They're like best buds, though. Like they talk
They are
2 or 3 days a week.
Right. No, they are, but like that, have they done together that was like the level of Good Will Hunting?
I haven't done that.
Several sketches at award shows.
Well, yeah, sure. And then I think it.
10 Rings. What has happened?
I think that the movie bombed because Kylo Ren's lightsaber didn't work the whole time. It wasn't glowing once during the trailer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Miss Jen, we were just talking about Kyle's version of New York Comic Con, and that was fun. And then we went on a tangent about James Bond, which you missed. But it was mostly due, in fact, we didn't bring this up last week, but like, he saw James Bond. Have you been able to see James Bond yet, Miss Jen?
I did. I just went and saw it yesterday.
And where would you rank it on your James Bond list, do you think? You don't have to give me an exact number, but like top, bottom, middle.
I mean, it's probably maybe around 6 or 7.
Okay. And I also I threw out this theory that I think people are attached to the Pierce Brosnan version of James Bond because of the N64 games like GoldenEye.
It is the best.
So then we just went on about Nintendo and kicking out power wires and lack of safeguards and stuff. And now Kyle told us that he really hates the new Venom movie so much that he watched the whole movie and then asked for his money back from a dying theater.
You should ask for your money back.
I did. They offered me a coupon off of future popcorn purchases.
But then he lost the coupon.
And then I lost the coupon.
And that ends the sad tale.
Which is,
That's hard there.
That's on brand for me. Amanda probably has it in her purse. But that's on brand for me. And again, it was just so bad. So bad. I mean, and I wonder if part of it wasn't that Friday night I watched James Bond. So I'd seen James Bond, which is one of my top 4 James Bond movies ever. Mm-hmm. And Venom in the same weekend. I mean, you go from watching a great film to, I guess that counts as a movie.
I mean, it's October. If it wasn't, like Hollywood's schedule is completely off, right? But like typically, you're not going to see James Bond in October. October is reserved for basically movies that they fit a certain niche, or they've been in the can for a while, or they just fit like that fall Hollywood Halloween theme. So typically you wouldn't have been able to see James Bond at the same time. Wasn't it originally I mean, it changed more than any movie, but wasn't it originally like almost
4.5 years ago?
Christmas Day? I think it was a Christmas Day movie. Like way back.
It was supposed to be out like forever and a half ago.
Yeah, I was originally supposed to have it be my 50th birthday party. I was inviting everybody. Like I was renting out a huge theater and all you guys would have been able to go. But then, it moved to April and then whatever. It just kept on moving around. So
kept moving around.
Oh, now you're all invited to my 50th birthday, which I'm going to have on my 52nd, after my 52nd birthday. We're going to I have to go watch some Matrix.
And regardless of how bad Venom was, I mean, the October releases really worked for that franchise because Venom 2 has made a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it made 10% less off future popcorn purchases.
Yeah, but you lost the coupon, so really the symbiotes win. The symbiotes win on this one. Did anyone see Halloween?
I watched the first 10 minutes and turned it off.
See, I was really wondering which is worse, Halloween or Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage.
I will not judge. I watched the first 10 minutes and turned it off because I had something else I had to handle.
Okay.
Like I'd sat down to watch it and then something came up. I might watch it Wednesday night. It's either getting universally panned or universally praised.
Well, it got praised for the amount of money it made, but I haven't really heard anyone say it was good.
A lot of my friends who are fans of like super camp horror
Okay.
are loving it because it is kind of a return to what made that franchise great. That said, it's going to have to be pretty awful. I mean, I just don't think there's a way it can not be awful.
It just, if I was going to watch a movie like that for Halloween or just fall or whatever, I'd watch Bingo Hell on Amazon. That one's way more intriguing to me than seeing like the 19th Michael Myers movie.
Well, but supposedly this starts the trilogy that ends them. This is they're doing. I don't know if it's a full trilogy or if it's just 2 movies or whatever, but that Halloween Kills and then Halloween Dies, whatever the next one is supposedly the last.
But by definition, a trilogy is 3 movies.
No, I used the word trilogy. I don't know that it was actually a
Okay.
trilogy. In my brain, it was.
But hasn't Michael Myers died in every Halloween and then he just comes back?
Kind of the point.
I guess. I mean,
No,
the point
but,
would
like,
just be to pick a better movie to watch.
I mean, we can't all be watching Gremlins 2.
I know. I wish we could.
Or, the Leprechaun 4.
I'm just really glad they're making a Gremlin show. I mean, if Chucky gets a show again, good grief.
Which, by the way, that was. I'm still not sure how I feel about that. That was so much fun.
The show is
That
fun.
was so messed up. Yeah.
The show is fun, and it's a show, right? It's like
Yeah.
multiple season episodes. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was like if you like Child's Play.
No, I hate it. I don't like dolls. They're terrifying.
Okay. The show is a lot of fun if you like the movies.
Oh, okay. Well,
But it was incredibly messed up.
I'm sure. I saw like the name of the first episode, and it seemed like so existentialistly esoteric. I didn't know what was going on. I got confused by just the first name of the first episode. And they did a cross promotion on WWE, and it was really lame, for lack of a better word. And I looked up when they did that back in the 90s, and they had when he was messing with Big Papa Pump's brother, like live, and he like took over the whole stadium, and that was way better.
Yeah. One of the other things I watched because planes was the Walker Texas Ranger reboot.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Still better than Carnage, I bet.
Yes, still better than Carnage. 100% too little Chuck Norris.
It would have been really funny if you would have asked for your plane ticket money back, like after sitting through Walker Texas Ranger on the plane ride.
Nope. I watched the first 2 episodes. I was like, I can give this a chance just because there are a number of actors in it I like. But then, yeah, no.
They probably changed the theme song too, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't have that song, which is also disappointing. But it actually wound up being a good first season. The second season will tell if it's going to be a good show or not.
I'm guessing it won't. You should ask for your money back.
Did you guys talk at all about the DC fandom stuff?
Did we? Oh, did we? Now we're gonna get to start this back up about how Kyle hates that name. He hates it.
I mean, it's creative. Come on now, you can't hate on there.
I was trying to pump up the Batman movie because I saw the trailer and everything makes sense and it looks fantastic to me, and I'm excited about Batman again, and I think Robert Pattinson's going to be phenomenal, and I think Catwoman looks fantastic and Riddler looks amazing, and I'm excited for Jim Gordon, um, but Kyle doesn't watch trailers and he doesn't understand why there's not an actual dome.
Right. If DC Fandom was a place I could visit, I might be convinced to care.
Okay.
The more important question is, why did Hannah put that Queen's vinyl back?
Why she was fixing it. Do you want the vinyl?
She needs to just pack it up and ship it to me.
What's the Queen vinyl?
Actually, I have the Queen vinyl, so hopefully
yes.
you'll find
Wait,
good.
which Queen?
Wait, which album was this? Was this Night at the Opera? What is it?
Greatest hits.
Okay.
Mark, if you don't claim it, I'm gonna.
Oh, you can claim it. Go for it.
I already have that one.
Okay.
I thought it was the.
Is that Rami Malek on the cover?
Bottom on the back.
Did you hear about what they said about him on SNL?
No, I didn't.
That he was kind of a nightmare to work with on SNL
Really?
because he's inflexible.
Okay.
Like if you're gonna host SNL, you've got to be ready to pivot on a dime, and he just wasn't able to do that.
Well, some people, I mean, not everyone is like an improv artist at the Groundlings or whatever. So
Sure, but like I found that incredibly hard to believe, having watched him in so many things, that
I think they were saying I'll have it.
because
I'll have
his
it up.
roles are so varied.
And they've had a lot of people that can't act on SNL. So there's got to be a lot more inflexible
Trouble.
people.
You okay?
Okay.
You almost killed Hannah.
Now he really owes me ice cream.
Yeah, I've said it before. You come down here, I'll get you the ice cream. You just have to figure out how to get down here. It might be better for you to ask Derek, and he'll give you the ice cream.
I'm just gonna send JD for my ice cream for Brainy.
What kind of ice cream are we talking about?
The kind you stick in your mouth, Mark.
No, but like what brand? Like what? Like what brand?
We decided we owed each other ice cream for something. Who knows
Yeah,
now?
Yeah, but
We've had
what
way too many
brand?
conversations about us owing ice cream to everybody.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's really Dirk owes everyone ice cream. I think that's where it's.
Exactly. I think he does.
So at New York, he wanted us to go for ice cream, and we're staying on 37th. He wanted us to go to 108th Street.
No, that's
For ice
impossible. The ice cream would melt.
I'm going, you do realize that that's like in a different borough, right? And he goes, yeah, but it's good ice cream. I go, but the 7-Eleven is right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
In the same borough.
But again, what ice cream was it? Look, I understand ice cream's great, but like there is a big variance between brands.
Yep. So, I just, before we run out of time, I just want to, Mark sent 3 things on our outline about TV. Why The Last Man being canceled is the single worst news I've heard all year.
Like, why in the world would you spend all the time developing that thing and then right away it's like, well, just
right?
But why not?
And the last 2 things on his list, Lock and Key Season 2 and History of the World Part 2, are giving me life right now.
Lock and Key is a phenomenal comic. I just don't know if it translates the way they want it to translate. It's like
really
a family friendly.
Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of Walking Dead, I don't think anything's ever. Even Walking Dead, they shifted away. But outside of that, I don't think any comic book translation to film has been as accurate as you'd want it to be.
The Boys so far, right?
Even that's not as accurate as you'd want it to be.
Well, I don't know if anyone needs it to be as accurate as it was in the comics. That's one of those cases where it's like it's probably better they toned it down a little bit. What about Invincible? I know it's animated, but what about Invincibles are pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's actually.
yeah. And
Let's
I
see.
know you're not. I know you're not saying it's not a good show. You're saying about translation. So I
Right.
guess they're a little bit
I think
different.
the animated things have to be considered separately.
Oh, okay.
Because they have more freedom to do what they want with animation, so they can get closer and closer to what the original
Right.
scripts might have been. So
You don't have to be so tied to human physics.
Stray Dogs needs to be animated. I'm just gonna say that now.
Yeah.
No, Stray Dogs needs to be like Roger Rabbit.
in today's era, I'm not sure if you can pull that off.
Okay, original Space Jam.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it really does need to be. Well, yeah, you might be right. It might work.
What about Cool World? Would you accept Cool World?
I would need more context. I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Really? Okay.
I mean, maybe. I just don't remember.
But back to
yes.
why? What would you cancel? Why? I'm with 4. It's on episode 6 right now, right?
Mhm.
8. 8 just came out, I believe.
Yes, I'm still on episode 4, and like I've mentioned before, I think it's more about the platform than it is about the show.
I wonder if it's not a money thing.
I'm almost certain it is.
Well,
I
no,
think
I'm
it
wondering
is.
if season 1 didn't cost them so much to make that they just can't make season 2 because of the way the contract is structured and the guarantees are and how much FX on Hulu is going to have to carry of the production cost, that they just have no choice but to cancel it.
Which quite possibly might be the reason why they did it.
I mean, that's
The show's
why.
good.
I mean, that's why a lot of times you see shows like The West Wing, which had become more popular in its last season than it was in season 6, get canceled because the cost of production just isn't an equitable deal anymore when you get past a certain point.
But what West Wing had an 8-year run, and it kind of fit in with the presidency. So I think it ended well.
No, it certainly did. But the reason it didn't continue with Jimmy Smits and a new cast was that the cost of the production had become so lopsided one way to the other that the network had no choice.
Which, I mean, for a show like that required such a large cast,
Mm-hmm.
and they had such high profile characters in there, of course it makes absolute sense where the cost would be a big burden. But look at Big Bang, man. That thing was costing them what, 15 million, $20 million a episode, and they were willing to continue to do another few years.
I mean, same thing with Friends. Same thing with Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
The sitcom pricing though, the sitcom pricing model is very different though.
Yeah.
Because
The
of the
bulk
ability to product
the-
placement stuff.
but the bulk is the actors. So
Yeah.
once they start making $1 million, it's pretty much going to be over. But and then as Kyle mentioned, the last thing on the TV list, which is phenomenal to me, it's really sad that most of the cast of this film that's going to be turned into a Hulu TV series isn't around anymore. But Mel Brooks will be writing and executive producing History of the World Part 2, a follow-up to the 1982 film History of the World Part 1. And I didn't realize this, but so that movie's a cult hit. It's a Mel Brooks, movie. So anyone who has a sense of
Taste?
humor, yeah, taste. I was gonna say taste, but I was trying to be nicer than that. Sense of humor, and then it's kind of mean to say no one has a sense of humor. But anyway, I did not realize that movie came out the same week as Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then Superman 2 came out right after that. So that's why it did not do well in the box office originally when 40 years ago. But it's going to be him on the writer's staff. It's going to be Wanda Sykes. It's going to be Nick Kroll. It's going to be other seasoned writers and comedians. The cast has a lot to live up to. There's no Madeline Kahn or Dom DeLuise or Cloris Leachman, which makes me sad. But I think that anyone who's anyone better want to work with Mel Brooks. So yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Wasn't he talking about doing Spaceballs follow up forever? Just never did it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. At this point, this is probably. I mean, the Spaceballs TV show would be interesting, but at this point, I think this gives you more flexibility. You just do like 8, probably 40-minute episodes, whatever time or event you want, and then anthology series. Everyone's gonna want to work on that show as an actor, actress, so makes sense. Um, what about comics? You guys have anything to throw out there?
Well, just on History of the World Part 2 real quick. I don't
Yeah.
think that that's all that can be in the writer's room. I don't think that that's going to be it.
Well, they in fairness, they listed like 8 different people.
Right.
But those were the 2 that really jumped out to me because Wanda Sykes and Nick Kroll have both had their hands in a lot of great projects over the last 10, 15 years. Especially
Well, so
like
has
they've both been
Aaron
on.
Holtz, and
Oh, go ahead.
Aaron Holtz, co-wrote the Mindy Project with Mindy Kaling.
Yeah.
He's a legendary writer. Kevin Salter's great. David Stassen is from Mindy Project as well. But no, the thing that I don't see in that group other than Wanda and Kroll are stand-ups. And one of the things that always made Mel Brooks great was his work with stand-ups, especially controversial stand-ups. So I would be interested to see who he maybe brings in on the back end. For Punch Up.
Yeah. As actors or like on screen or behind
No,
the screen?
as writers, like
Oh, okay.
he always had Richard Pryor read basically everything. He always worked with guys who had pretty edgy stand-up to add jokes. So it'll be interesting to see who he brings in to add jokes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can pull off those type of jokes anymore. But you're right. I would like to see who he gets to do that. It'd be very interesting because like I said, you can't do jokes like that anymore.
Right, but what I'm wondering is, does he bring in someone like a Pete Davidson, or there's a number of guys that I see on TikTok and on YouTube that are working in New York that are doing a really edgy comedy that's not like controversial necessarily, but it's still fresh and edgy and new. So,
Did you ever see Pete Davidson's show on HBO, Crashing?
that's Pete Holmes.
Oh, I would bring Pete Holmes in then.
Yeah, Pete Holmes would be great. Pete Davidson's on SNL.
Oh, are you talking about
He was married
he
to
on
Ariana Grande for a minute.
was he on Suicide Squad?
I don't think they ever got married, man.
Yes, he was in Suicide Squad.
I would bring in Pete Holmes instead.
I'd bring them both in.
Well,
You'd have
you were talking about New York edgy clubs, and there's a Pete Davidson. Now you got me. There's a Pete Holmes. His show Crashing had an episode with R.D. Lang that's like the most real 20 minutes of television I ever seen, and it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't think I could ever have sympathy for R.D. Lang, and then I watched that, and I'm like, oh my gosh. It was eye-opening. It was really great. I mean, it's a scripted series, like fictional, but you could definitely tell that was real.
So, comic book wise, United States of Captain America, number 5, I'm excited about.
New character again, right?
Another new character. And this is the last one.
We got Nubia and the Amazons coming out this week from DC Comics. That looks very interesting. Refrigerators full of heads.
Mm-hmm.
People should be aware that there are quite a few Image books that are delayed by a whole week, so don't expect to see Hellcop and or Gunslinger spawn at your door.
Is that the one where Spawn has a new hat?
And a gun.
And a gun. And
I'm looking at this cover. It looks ridiculous.
he's
It's like a
going around
10 gallon hat.
Yep, that's him. Gunslinger Spawn.
he's pretty much everyone's favorite, honestly. That's the one everyone's been asking about. So
Oh, there's a Black Label Catwoman book. That looks interesting. Lonely City #1.
yeah, there's like 3 Catwoman books out this week.
Oh, okay.
Killer Queens 3. I finally got around to reading number 2. So I'm very excited for Killer Queens 3 with Henshotters.
Sleeping Beauty 7. I might be in it.
New Purgatory. Marvel has a lot of Halloween specials this week, which is a real bummer.
Including a Star Wars one.
You said it's a real
Going
bummer.
to a galaxy far away.
Why are Halloween specials a real bummer?
Just because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Like, if there were a few less and there were a few maybe, I would be happier.
Well, I was excited. They made a Transformers one about Starscream's ghost, so that to me that's cool. I like that.
All right, so I've been looking forward to this trade for a while. It's called Short Order Crooks. When you want to mix your, making of food together with your crime.
That sounds amazing. Who put that out?
I cannot remember. I remember I was following it, and I couldn't wait for it to come out. I can't remember who made it.
Let me see.
A book from a small publisher called Howling Snow, a Kung Fu Fable.
What?
Yeah, it's actually from Comics Experience Publishing.
Oh, I did get it. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to sell out of that with that name. Goodness.
Right. That looks so awesome.
Short Order Crooks is not on the website that I use.
Here, I'll look it up because I'm on Diamond. So, Stud in the Blood Blade, #2, I'm super excited for. That's also CEX.
I was cautiously optimistic about CEX, and I talked to some people at New York about it, and I'm kind of getting more and more interested and excited about it as a potential thing. I know that sounds like a weird way to put things, but it's where I'm at.
Oh, it's Oni Press. No wonder.
Then why is it not on this website?
My Little Pony Generations is coming out. We need another My Little Pony series.
It's a graphic novel. I gotta look these up because I.
Oh, and I needed to ask y'all about one that was like not on my radar. I know it's not a release date. It may not even be till November. Is there a record coming? Is there a comic book that comes with a record that's coming out, like a vinyl record? And how come no one told me about it? And it's probably sold out, and now I'm sad.
Well,
place from here, Matt Rosenberg.
Yep. And if you want, they are reprinting the vinyl, so you may not be able to get the first pressing of it.
Oh, that's fine. I just thought it's a really neat concept, and there's been a few comics that came out that are about like records or record stores, and they haven't had a record with them. So
actually,
this one does.
Black Mask has actually done comic books with vinyl before.
Oh,
I've actually got a few.
Last Song, right? Last Song had that.
And God Killers.
God Killers had that as well.
Okay.
And Z2 has done, maybe not with vinyl per se, but they've done a bunch of stuff with soundtracks, downloadable soundtracks.
And DC recently actually did the death metal with vinyl in them as well. So they're integrating them.
I know there's a publisher that Jen and Brainy and I really like that is potentially doing a a record to go with a forthcoming series they have coming from a certain musical group.
So vague. Are you vague?
Wow. We know of a publisher that is going to come out with a book that has something to do about music. And they
Yes.
may or may
No,
not
the
have
book has
Marvel-
nothing to do with music.
No.
or a group. You're right. You're right.
Is it My Chemical Romance? Because they already write comics.
No.
It's
Oh.
about ghosts too.
Hmm.
Wait, is it Ghost?
No.
Oh.
Mark got all excited for just
I-
a second.
Well, all I really care about is it Death Cab for Cutie? Because that's my favorite band ever. Okay, well, I'll still be
didn't know
interested,
that.
but
Is it really being silly?
Death Cab is my favorite band. Ben Gibbard is the best lyricist of our generation. By far and away. Oh, speaking of bands that I like, Weezer is going to be a guest at Hasbro Pulse Con. Their Hasbro's virtual toy fan club convention over the weekend with lots of Transformers and GI Joe exclusives.
$10 says they do a cover of the GI Joe theme, and it's a #1 hit on Spotify. 30 seconds.
I wish. I hope so. If they were going to do a cover of something that was Hasbro related, they'd probably do the touch. You got the touch, you got the power from the Transformers movie.
That's fair.
And it would be a hit.
Wait, they may have done that already.
They might have. They probably already have. I mean, I know that song's been covered, so.
Hold on, I'm looking.
Crazy, and I have to get used to from now on. Is it's like since so many books are coming from different places, the what is coming out this week has gotten really kind of hard to follow, especially when things have gotten delayed. But I just mean, for me to remember, like, I'll look at my diamond list and I'm like, well, this is not even close to all the books that we get, because then you have to think about, you got DC coming from one place and Marvel coming from another, and then you've got, for us, we have Source Point coming from another place and Scout. So it's like,
Yep.
What releases this week? Is there a comprehensive list anywhere anymore? I don't know.
I can send you the list of the website I use. It just seems to be more accurate than not, but oftentimes it does get Scout and Behemoth, and some people on that tier are a little wrong.
Well, Scout for us, both Jen and myself, is we get them before the release dates at times. Same thing with Source Point. So it, depending on what your list says, it might not be as accurate as what ours would be. But
right. I mean, and those companies that have those different kind of rules for direct ordering, obviously, there's no way a website can be accurate.
Exactly. But one of the biggest things and I'm sure Ms. Jen will agree with this, that we're going to anticipate demand for is something as Killing a Children Deluxe Edition or a slipcase edition. And we really got allocated on that. And
is it up on the orders right now so you can see?
It is invoiced, actually.
Oh, I'm going to look at my invoices and see, because I can't remember what I ordered. I thought I ordered Strongish.
Well, we're not even getting enough to fill the sort of pre-orders, since we don't technically take pre-orders, but we had people tell us, "Hey, I want this," and we definitely will not be able to meet that demand.
Well, you should recommend to those people that they buy the Marvel Masterworks Tomb of Dracula Volume 1.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but sure.
Or Ed Brubaker's Destroy All Monsters.
Oh, it's awesome. I was allocated to one copy.
Well, if you don't want to share it with all your customers and have them fight over it, I can take it off of your hands.
How's that? What would I have had to have ordered to get allocated to one? Maybe I ordered 6 or something. I guess I can go see.
Shoot, I think I ordered 10, or maybe I can't even remember. I know it was a decent amount. I wanted to make sure we had it for the Christmas break, but doesn't look like that's going to happen.
This is probably a good time to give a friendly reminder to do your Christmas shopping super early at your local comic book store. Like seriously now, yeah.
List this year is getting socks or an original comic book, like from one of my friends, who I could be like, "Hey, I'm coming over to your house. Just open the garage. I'm stealing some comics."
Wait, you said you want socks, or you're giving everyone socks?
No, everyone on my list is getting socks.
What kind? Are you at least like putting
whatever's available on Amazon?
Yeah, but Is it going to be based on their personality? Like, is it going to be character socks
No.
based? Oh,
So this is an interesting book on my pull list. It's called Veronica Revenge.
So it's Veronica Publishing. They only ever publish at Halloween, and they're usually, how do I put this? They're kind of like a low rent Zenoscope. But their books are always like super fun because they try so hard.
Yeah, it's in my poll, which is very interesting. I'm surprised. There must have been something in the solicit that caught my eye on there.
Well, and sometimes they manage to pull really good names to write them. Let me look. I'm sure it's in mine as well.
But like Miss Jen, it's getting harder and harder to figure out what's coming out, what's not. It's not until Wednesday, until we get everything into our point of sale system and we can actually look at it all as one, as opposed to 7 or 8 different invoices at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's exceptionally weird when I'll have an interview with somebody and they'll say, they're like, "Oh, my book releases this week," and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I've had that on the rack for like 3 weeks now."
Wait, Glenn Danzig wrote that book.
Yeah, with art by Simon Bisley.
That's probably why I put it in there. We'll see.
The cover looks cool.
Danzig owns the company. Verotic.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I usually don't go for. Well, I do go for the obscure stuff, but I'm just surprised that something like that got pulled in. So there must have been something really interesting about it that said, "Hey, you need to check this out."
Other than that, it was written by Glenn Danzig. Like that's enough.
I love that there's a price adjustment on this invoice for 1% of the Marvel books that I ordered. I mean, it's $8. I'll take that credit.
That's almost a whole trip to Culver's, man.
Yeah.
We don't have one. The Culver's here closed.
You should get one.
It was on a really good spot, but apparently the owner told the management like, "Hey, you need to do some on-site updates to your building," and they're like, "Nah," and then now it just sits there and it's empty. But it was crowded all the time. They have great ice cream there.
I've become obsessed. Mm-hmm.
There's a Vault original graphic novel that's coming out called Unfinished Corner.
It's on my list. I think I just added it because it's a Vault OGN.
Yes.
I don't actually know anything about it. I think I just ordered it.
This Jewish mythology has it that when God created the universe, he left one corner of it unfinished. Opinion is divided on why, but everyone agrees that the unfinished corner is the dangerous place full of monsters. It's about a 12-year-old named Miriam who neither knows nor cares about the unfinished corner. She's too busy preparing for a bat mitzvah.
All right.
I love the idea.
What was it called again?
The Unfinished Corner.
You'll appreciate this, Jen. We had a fill-in pastor at church yesterday, and he's one of these old school kind of Bible thumper, rah rah sis boom ba kind of preachers.
Well, you can't sleep through their sermon. I love it.
You can if you're as tired as I am, but he comes and he starts talking to this, like, she's 17 years old, she's running sound about, like this obscure scripture, and you could tell she wants nothing to do with this guy. She just wants to get through it. So I go up and I go, hey Reverend, you know what I like to think about when I'm getting ready for service? And he goes, what? I go, we haven't charged the batteries in your microphone pack in a week. So pray that story about the Maccabees and their oil lasting for 8 days that got us Hanukkah is true of batteries in 2021. He did not know what to do with that. So if you ever want to get an old Bible thumper preacher to stop talking, bring up Judaism, apparently.
Oh no.
He did give a very good message, but like I was so exhausted I had to fight to stay awake. So. All right. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
Yeah, YouTube needs to
Just,
stop blocking my videos.
What? Why did they block your videos now?
Apparently, I had a song on there that cannot be played in the United States. So
DCMA.
yeah.
I have to tell you my story about winning with Sony the other day, Brainy.
You want to do it here right now, or
One of the performances we streamed live for PoFest was a band called the Embalmers, which is a surf rock band. They played. It's a song from a Tarantino movie, which is nondescript enough because surf rock and Tarantino movies happens in every one of them. But they played it so perfectly, Sony thought it was the recording. So I had to submit to them a clip of the actual band playing it and be like, look, see, played by a band, not your recording. And they had to be like, our bad.
I think I sent you one of where Warner Brothers actually released copyrights, and I'm just like, I understand it. I understand what they're trying to do, but I'm not sitting here trying to make multi-million dollars off of using their copyright stuff. In fact, the stuff they blocked was for a student project, so I'm like,
DCMA is a really weird law, and if you want to know how weird, just remember Metallica played a live show and they muted the audio and replaced it with classical music because of the DCMA laws.
yeah. And for those that don't understand why that's so important, is because Metallica was the front runner.
It's the Lars Ulrich law.
DCMA sounds like a comic that's coming from Scout Comics or something.
No, it sounds like DC's new mature audiences only line.
Yeah. But also, doesn't Metallica get everything that's coming to them because of the whole Napster deal?
This is what we're talking about.
Oh, well.
I'm still a Metallica fan. I just, I'm in fact, I placed an order.
You must not have heard Load or Reload.
I stopped after the Black Album. Actually, no, I did listen to them, but still, I think they did go downhill after the Black Album. That was their peak, I guess.
I just remember going to a midnight release for Reload at Hastings. So now that I've dated myself, thank you guys for being on this incredible journey of Nerd News Now and all of our ramblings, and thank you for listening along. Miss Jen, Brainy, and Kyle, once again, thank you. And thank you for listening and watching Nerd News Now, part of the Kingdom of Geekdom on Woodlands Online, sponsored by the Adventure Begins Comics and Games and Space Cadets Collection. Check out their other shows like Music Cafe, The Adventure Begins Show, Woodlands House and Home, The Best You, Between the Trees Business Talk, and much more. You can watch all these on Woodlands Online and our partner station, KBQT HD21, over the air on your television. All these shows and more on Roku. Search and add Woodlands Online TV to your streaming lineup, and you can listen to the podcast version of our show and some of those shows by going to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast from. We'll see you next time on Nerd News.